What's up, engine nerds? I guess welcome to the first official episode of Tavs Tech. And today I kind of just want to ease into how I'm going to do these. And so I kind of thought it'd be easy for me to just do like a question and respond to it. So I had a question that was in my DMs and I kind of get it frequently. So I was like, oh, this is perfect. I can talk on it, try this whole thing out, see if you guys like it. Um, and I hope you do because for right now, this is an experiment. I'm talking to no one. I'm trying to help someone. So hopefully that gap gets bridged from me just talking to nothing to actually helping someone. Because at the end of the day, if I can help just one person in any way of life, like literally anything, if someone could say, hey, something you did help me, this will all be worth it. I feel like I'm called. I need to give something back. And that would just be awesome. So let's get into it. So for the first question today, it's from Sam. And it's, hey man, I've seen a few of your videos and I'm curious on the type of structural engineering work that you do. I'm 1 year into my structural engineer career, and in the office and on site balance you seem to have has always interested me. Genuinely curious about it. Couple of questions in here, but the main one that sticks out to me and that I want to answer is the work life balance. That is something that I get asked all the time, and like I get comments on, and all my friends are like, seems like you have it, like figured out, and seems like you don't even work. Trust me, I do. I guess more of the day in the lives are more on the less work oriented days because I kind of have a split schedule. Um, but one of the first things that I want to touch on is I believe for like me and what I'm seeing on social media, because that's the biggest thing these days is the issue with social media and what people consume and what they're seeing. And that's why I want to do this. Like I was saying earlier, and the intro, I want to help people because I feel like there's just a lot of out there. There's just everything. There's a lot of anything out there. And something that I feel like is getting pushed, especially to the younger kids, because that's who I really want to help and inspire. Because if someone could maybe talk to me like how I'm talking now, it would have been monumental back when I was in high school. So if there's like a high schooler that I can touch on these topics on and at least just give them some ideas, some mental stimulants to think about, I feel like it would be super beneficial. Um, so as I was saying, I feel like we're just getting fed these polar opposite ends of the spectrum and in terms of like work stuff. And those ends of the spectrum would be your finance tech bros, work hard, grind, live in luxury, check out my Rolex, look at my Bugatti, sell a course, I make $100,000 a month. That polar end. And then the other end is you can't stick me in a desk, F a 9 to 5. I can't do that. Wilderness, van life, camping. Polar ends, right? And no disrespect to either end. I'm sure there's some people where it's like that's what they love. Super fine luxury, a lot of money, all that stuff, going out to dinner every night. Then the other end that's like I want to sleep under the stars and be really granola, and that's cool. But I feel like there's a huge amount of people that are like just in the middle. Like me, I would consider myself in the middle. I like having nice things. I like buying stuff, going out with friends, but I also love nature, hiking, and I feel like I can pull from each of those ends. But there's no one that's really in that world. It's either quit your job and go all in on something, or it's work really hard and don't have a social life and, something like that. And there is a balance there. There is. And if you don't believe there is, then you've already lost the battle. So you must come to the realization that there is a balance. And without, like, you don't want to disrespect either of those polar ends, but you have to be able to take something from each. And that's kind of where my opinion on how I live my life, like, not my opinion, but this is how I live my life. It's in pursuit of a balance and it's in pursuit of greatness. So I have things that I enjoy and I like, and I want to be really good at them. And I want to be good at things I like, not what the world tells me to like, like what's cool. Engineers aren't like the coolest people. sorry, hate to break it to you. Didn't know if you didn't know that, but hate to burst your bubble on that. But they're not. We've never been promoted as, hey, these guys are sick. Look up to them. They're kind of promoted as like they make a lot of money. We don't. But it's kind of one of those things that's not super cool. And I think what's cool is following your passions, real passions, not fake passions that you post trendy clips of to blend in with the trend and look at me and just do something for views or numbers. Not those passions. I'm talking real passions and following them endlessly. And then the other was I was saying pursue greatness and then pursue balance. And so for me, balance is my mind and my body. And every day everything I do is in pursuit of the balance between my mind and body. So I invest in my physical being and I invest in my mental being every day. And when one gets stronger, the other does. It just happens. And that's where my happiness comes from, is because once I kind of started treating my life like that, everything just got better. Like, I was more fit, so I was healthier. I could do more. I was stronger. And on the other end, could study more, could study longer. The nutrition in my body, I was happy. I wasn't brain fogging. And I had, the calling inside my brain just got stronger. And the ideas just got better. And so everything about my life, personally, I just felt like everything started to make sense. And you kind of know it makes sense when you're just happy, because I'm just happy all the time now. And that's what I just want to share. And the biggest thing, I do not want to tell you have to wake up at 6 a.m., you have to eat this, you have to study this book, you have to go to this school. I do not want to be that guy, and I don't want to, like, the fear mongering of the youth these days or what they have to do and what they see on socials. It's just getting ridiculous, and I want to help, but then it's like I'm just a guy on camera now telling you stuff, and it's like, am I really that different? Hopefully it can come across as a little bit different than all those other guys, but all I can do is try, right? So as I was saying, the pursuit of my mind and body is what made me happy. And without me telling you what to do, I just like to share, and hopefully you can maybe like grab bits and pieces and say, oh, like maybe I can try that, or oh, that's cool. And that's how I can help. I don't want to tell anyone to do anything. But for me, when I started prioritizing like sweating every day and then studying and then like pursuing something real, I just was happier. And I can go into probably more stories, but for this one, I'm kind of just want to focus on like the work-life balance part. And for me, I believe that my job is very mentally stimulating. Obviously, it's a desk job, and I have a real passion for structural design. I do residential structural design, so I make houses not fall on you. And obviously, a big task. I mean, there's houses everywhere, and when there's an earthquake and they don't fall, that's good. You don't want them to fall, and so I have a real passion and drive to do good and exceed. So sometimes I don't just clock it in at work. Like sometimes I'll come home and they'll be like an earthquake or something. I'll be like, oh my gosh, that's so interesting to me, because I'm truly want to be a man of the craft, and the craft being engineering and math. So I just like being completely obsessed with it. And when you really find something you love that is, a job, then your work-life balance just becomes better. And the biggest thing is I love going to work every day. There's some things about work that's like, the drive, the pay, the whatever, the office, the people, the work itself. Like there's so many things about work that makes it, have that connotation of, oh, work. I got to go to work. It's a job. But it's kind of like taxes in this kind of in this day and time. Is that even the saying? I don't even know. I've stopped and re-record this way too many times. Let's just go with it. In this time, I'm close. Anyways, at this point in time, like death and taxes are guaranteed. Having a job and paying money is kind of up there. So you got to have a job that makes money. And you can go that polar end where it's make a lot and sacrifice all your time. Or you can do the other where it's like make very little and kind of live more granola lifestyle. And I want to be in the middle. I want to make money, but I also want to spend my time, especially in my youth, doing physical things and hanging with friends and investing in memories, because I don't want to remember my 20s just in the office. No matter how much I love what I do, I need the balance. And the balance is my main focus. So, something I do is I do jujitsu most days at work, like midday. I'll split up my day and I'll go do that, and I'll raise my heart rate. I'll sweat, hang out with friends, completely just go from hard mental math to try not to die and physically drain myself. I get back to work. I'm sharper. My mood is better. I'm happier. The food I eat just tastes better. It's like I earned it. You know, when you work hard and you got some protein or a good meal, it's like you earned that. When you just sit at a desk all day and then you eat lunch, you just kind of feel like crap. And then that's honestly the corporate America trap, is people just lose their physical being. And that is the biggest problem that I see, and that's something I really want to avoid. I don't want to be so invested in my work, or required to be, that I start to lose my physical being. But at the same time, I don't want to be just, doing physical activities all day to the point where my mind starts to play games with me and it's asking me, what are you doing with your life? Are you really pursuing any, like, what are you giving back to the world? Not that you can't do stuff like that physically. Like, there's a lot of jobs out there that, require more physical attribute, like athletes. That's basically just physical job, but it's also still has that mind connection of like pursuing greatness, like winning the thing, and you orient yourself to that goal. Because when you seriously have a goal and a passion, the stress and the hardships that come with it, you may not realize it, but that is where your happiness is and the beauty. I think my senior year, I had to do some sort of like writing elective, because obviously most of my courses were math based, but I had like some writing elective, and it was I don't know, it was just write something, and I wrote about stress and how it's good. And I actually found a couple of really cool articles, and it's like, yeah, stress is good. Because think about it, if you woke up every day with nothing to do and no drive in life, you wouldn't be happy. If you were stress free completely, like think about it, no taxes, no debt, not worrying where your food came from, not worrying where you're going to sleep that night, not worrying about a thing. I feel like most of you can agree, like, yeah, no, I actually don't think I'd be happy. It'd be too easy. Having something to grind for is beautiful, especially when it's an investment in something that you like. And I feel like finding that is the best thing that you can do for yourself. And so when people kind of do that, oh, you have time, like you'll figure it out. You don't have to pick a major yet. You have time. I heavily disagree. I think you don't have time. I think you need to figure it out as soon as you can. Not to say you will. I just think you need to pursue it. You need to say, I want to go find what I like, and go try and find it. Because people are like, you don't have to find out what you like yet. You have time. And be like, okay, I have time. And then they don't look. It's like, yeah, you have time, but you need to be looking. And the sooner you find it, the better. You start investing now. So ever since I was young, I knew I liked designing and building. And so everything leading up to where I am now is just in pursuit of that. And that's where my happiness over a span of time has been. Compounding interest. I've invested. High school, diploma, internships, college degree, tests, exams. All of those are little micro things that are very difficult. School is hard. Exams are hard. Internships, low level, you get paid and you're just kind of there all day. Everything that you kind of do towards a goal should be hard. If your goal is real. Sorry, not real. If your goal is of worthy pursuit. Because if your goal was something easy, like I want to gain 400 pounds, it's kind of an easy goal if you just want to sit there and eat. There's maybe that is your goal. I want to gain 400 pounds, and eating is hard. And you don't want to put it down, but then you do, and then you hit that goal. I gained 400 pounds, and you look back and you're like, I hated eating all that food, but I did it, and I got to my goal. This is a terrible segue for me to go off of, but hopefully you kind of get the point where the pursuit of something you truly want should be hard. And I believe that not that once you get there, but looking back on the path, you'll understand that, or I understood that, oh my gosh, all those hard days were gratifying. I was happy I did them. I wouldn't trade them for anything. And it made me proud of who and what I am and what I was pursuing. That's my biggest give to you is if you're like, oh my God, engineering is so, because everyone thinks like, that's so hard, I might drop out. Don't drop out if you truly do not like what it is. If you find yourself in engineering class and you're like, I hate numbers, I hate math, I love writing, I love law. That's different than just quitting because it's hard. That's quitting because your heart is not in the pursuit of whatever you are pursuing. And then maybe you're like, you 180, you're like, I want to go into law and reading and something in literature. That's beautiful. There's no problem with that because that is you being real and true to yourself. And guess what? Now you got to go find that route. And I guarantee that's not going to be easy, but now you're pursuing something that you like. So for me, I hated it in the moment, like, oh, this math sucks, it's hard, I hate this teacher, blah, 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 blah. But, you know, I would always find myself like getting lost in an equation, like, I can figure this out. And I'd be like, whoa, I just did homework for 2 hours without, being, you can get bored, but I wasn't like, I was stimulated. I liked, like, it was hard, but I wanted to figure it out. And that was kind of how I knew, oh, this is a good field for me. I like what I'm doing because it's mentally stimulating and I am pursuing something that I enjoy, even though it's hard right now and I hate it. So that is kind of how I knew that I liked what I was pursuing. And now in my work-life balance, I am mentally stimulating my mental side at work with something that I genuinely like. So if you cut a corner and you take a job that you don't like, that's your mental investment that you could seriously be missing out on, which is a bummer. If you go into a job that you hate, I hate to say it, but you could be just wasting time. And if you are doing something you hate and wasting time and you know that you're like, I'm young and I'm just wasting time, that will deteriorate your mentality super fast. So you must find what you like and pursue it to your utmost ability. And I guess the question is more oriented about, my job, structural engineering, and kind of that realm of work-life balance. For one of the best pieces of advice I could give, I guess, is small to medium companies. Big companies, you get probably more money, work stability, work parties, work lunches, stuff like that. And if that's something you value, then 100% go for a larger company. If you want more friends in the office because, you'll be there a lot, go that route. For me, I like a lot of responsibility. I like, like having multiple bosses in multiple sectors and all that. I like doing my own thing. Excuse me. Being with, like, not doing my own thing, but I just like the responsibility that being with a small company does or gives you. And so it also helps on the work-life part because it kind of gives you value because you're good at your job. You can kind of request more things, work around others. But it's like, hey, I want to take a lunch break and do jiu-jitsu every day. And if you're valuable and that's something you value and you're with a small company, it's more attainable because sometimes you can't do that. But being with a small company definitely helps me. And which leads into that point I just said about being worthy. Be valuable. If you suck at your job and you're lazy and you're not even cool, you can't ask for anything. But if you're a bright light in the office and you're happy and everyone likes you and you're friendly and you're also good at your job and your productivity is good, people want to keep that in the office, especially a smaller office. In a larger office, sometimes that can get overlooked, but in a smaller office, 100%. They want to keep you. And it's like, hey, my productivity goes up and I'm happier if I get to go do jiu-jitsu in the middle of the day. It's like, hey, that's fine. I'm not, coming in at 8, leaving at 9, and then coming back at 3 p.m. That's a little unreasonable because, again, it's a work-life balance. You have to do both. But just asking for an hour or two to do jiu-jitsu and it's like you still are productive getting what you need to get done, it's not a problem. Because the company's, at the end of the day, the company wants to make money. I'm giving you a better productivity, more money for the company if I get to do ABC. They'll be like, okay, cool, let's do ABC. So I like a smaller company, and I think that's kind of what his question was oriented on. It's like, how do you do this work-life balance? Maybe it seems like his company might not have that, but maybe it's a larger company. And then if, leading to that point, if you are with that large company, and they're saying, hey, you can't do this. We need you here at these hours. At the end of the day, they got to let you go at some point. And my computer just die? Oh, we're still live. Sorry. At the end of the day, they got to let you go at some point, and you need to make the time to invest in yourself. I know you hate to hear it, and that's one of those things. I don't have time, and you've probably heard it before. You have to make the time. And I don't want to say you got to make the time, but it's like if you think what I do is cool, it's because I make time. Sleep scores sometimes aren't the best all the time, but I make a conscious effort to invest in my physical being and my happiness. Pre-work, post-work, middle of the workday, around my work. I hang out with friends. I do sports. I raise my heart rate. Those are all investments in my physical and mental being because it makes me happy. Hanging out with friends, it just adds to memories, and that's what I want to build on. And so you got to make the time for yourself, because if you get too lost in your work, what are you even doing anymore? So make a conscious effort to be happy at work and at home and in the in-between. Everywhere. Be happy. Happiness is awesome. But yeah, my last point, sorry, I have a little journal here. The last point was don't be lazy. And that kind of coincides with make the time, because the excuse is I don't have time. And I truly believe that that's you being lazy. It's like you can make the time. And if you really pull yourself out of that, I don't have time, and you just say, hey, I do, now figure out the problem, I think it's going to be a lot better for you. Because there's a lot of people that just kind of call it in and say, I don't have the time. It's like if you force yourself and tell yourself you do figure it out, and then you're like yelling at yourself, it's like, okay, crap, I'll make the time. And then you do. I guarantee whatever the little investment was to not be lazy will make you happier. And that is all anything is about, is the pursuit of happiness and the pursuit of greatness. And it all coincides in the balance, or at least that's how I see it. So pursue the balance. Yeah. I've been rambling for a while, haven't I? I hope this is helpful. I have no idea. It's the first one done. Let's call it there. I don't even know how long these are, or if this is even going to get to anyone. But hopefully this helps, Sam. Sam, I'm sorry. I don't even know if I touched on all your points, but hopefully it helped a little bit. Send questions if you have them, or comments. I'll read comments too. You can tell me how bad this was, or if it was helpful at all. Send it all. Trying to give back in any way I can, and hopefully I can do that by helping and responding to you guys. So next episode is whenever I can. I appreciate you guys for being here, if you are. And I guess if you're watching this, then you are. So then, yes, thanking you makes sense, because I wouldn't be able to thank you if you weren't here, because you just would never see it. So thank you. I appreciate it. And Engineered out.